Have you ever walked down a city street and just wondered, what's going on right under your feet? It's easy to forget, but there is an entire invisible world down there. A whole network of unseen rules that quietly and perfectly dictates how everything works. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on two of the most basic, most important rules that shape our entire built world.
I mean, really think about it. Every time it rains, every time a toilet gets flushed, how does all of that water know exactly where to go? How do we avoid total chaos and constant flooding? You'd think it would be some super complex system, but the answer is actually incredibly simple. Yeah, the big secret isn't some fancy computer or a high-tech gadget. It all boils down to two ideas that we've been using for centuries. Elevation, which is really just a word for height, and grade, which is just a word for slope. Get these two things right and you can build a city. Get them wrong, and you've basically just built a very expensive swamp. Okay, so let's start with the master rule, the big one, the one that gravity itself enforces. No exceptions. It's all about elevation. It really is that simple. On any construction project, every single important point has an elevation written on the design plans. It's just the official height of that point, usually measured from a common reference like sea level. And why is this so critical? Well, one word: gravity. Gravity is the engine that makes all of our drainage work. Water will always flow downhill, from a high elevation to a low one. So if you get the elevations wrong, even by a tiny bit, water's going to go the wrong way, and you've got a massive, massive problem. So where do these super precise height numbers come from? I mean, you can't just pull them out of thin air, right? Every single measurement on a job has to trace back to a single source of truth, and that's called a benchmark. It could be a permanent government marker or maybe just a temporary point a surveyor set up, like a nail in a curb. Whatever it is, it's the anchor for the entire system.
Okay, so if elevation tells us that water will flow downhill, our second concept, grade, tells us how it's going to flow. Grade is how we control the direction, and just as importantly, the speed.
Grade is really just the measurement of steepness. Think of it like this. For every, say, 10 feet you walk forward, how many inches do you go up or down? That specific rate, that steepness, that's the grade. All right, now this is where things can get a little tricky, or at least they seem that way at first. The idea of grading is really simple, but out in the real world, people talk about it in a few different languages. But don't worry about it. Seriously, once you realize they are all just different ways of saying the exact same thing, it all clicks into place. It's kind of like learning that hello, hola, and bonjour all mean the same thing.
First up, you've got percentage. You've definitely seen this one on road signs. A 2% grade just means that for every 100 feet you travel forward, the road goes up or down by 2 feet. Simple. Next is ratio. This is a big one on design drawings. A slope of 1 to 50 means for every 50 units you go forward, you go down 1 unit. Same idea, just different numbers.
Then there's per meter. This is what the folks actually laying the pipe in the trench use all the time. A grade of 20 millimeters per meter means exactly what it says. The pipe needs to drop 20 millimeters for every single meter it runs.
And finally, there's the decimal form, like 0.020. This is the one you're probably going to use when you're actually plugging numbers into a calculator to check the work.
So here it is, the big takeaway. That 2% grade we talked about, the 1 to 50 ratio, the 20 millimeters per meter, and that 0.020 decimal, they are all describing the exact same slope. It's just 4 different ways of saying the same thing. Once you get that, you've got it made. All right, theory is great, but let's see how this all plays out where it really counts. Out in the field. Professionals are constantly doing this kind of simple math to make sure these invisible rules are being followed to the letter. So take a look at this. The design plan says the pipe should be at an elevation of 346.40. But when they measure it in the trench, it's actually at 346.20. Now 200 millimeters, that's about 8 inches. It might not sound like a lot, but in this world, being a little too deep can mess up the flow for the entire system down the line. Or how about this one? A crew measures the elevation at both ends of a new pipe. They do some quick math and find out the slope is 0.8%. That sounds pretty close, right? Well, the plans called for a minimum of 1.0%. This tiny difference means this pipe is officially too flat. And as we're about to see, too flat is a recipe for disaster. Speaking of that, time for a little pop quiz. Based on what we've been talking about, why is a perfectly flat 0% grade pipe such a terrible idea for drainage? Is it A, B, C, or D? Take a second and think about it. And the answer is B. It doesn't self-clean. If you don't have a slope, gravity can't create enough force and enough velocity to push all the solids along with the water. So everything just settles to the bottom, builds up, and eventually you get a total blockage. A flat pipe isn't really a pipe. It's just a long underground storage tank waiting to clog.
And you know what? That brings us to the real heart of why this knowledge is so important. This isn't just about pipes and puddles. Understanding these rules is about a fundamental shift in how you see the world.
I absolutely love this quote from a professional in the field. This knowledge is what separates someone who's just digging a hole from someone who is building infrastructure. It's that moment you stop just following instructions and start to actually understand the job, to see the whole system, not just the task in front of you. So the next time you see a curb or a drain in the street, you'll know this secret. You'll be able to see those invisible lines of elevation and grade that are making it all work. And that leaves us with one final thought. Now that you can see these unseen rules, what other invisible systems is our entire world built on?